Hey, before you keep scrolling, I need you to watch this.
Because right now, at this very second, your cat might be sitting on the couch next to you, maybe curled up in a little ball, maybe blinking slowly at you, maybe just staring out the window like they always do. And you're looking at them thinking, yeah, they're fine. They're happy. They've got food. They've got water. They've got me. What more could they need? But here's the thing. That feeling you have right now, that quiet confidence that your cat is perfectly content,
It might be the biggest misunderstanding you've ever had with an animal you love. And I don't say that to scare you. I don't say that to make you feel like a bad cat parent. I say it because I've been there too. And so have millions of cat owners across America who genuinely, deeply, fully love their cats and still have no idea their cats are quietly, silently struggling.
cats are masters at hiding what they feel. It's built into their DNA. It's survival. And because of that, your cat has probably been sending you signals for weeks, maybe months, maybe even years. And you've been reading them completely wrong. That slow blink, you think it means love. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it means something else entirely. That loud meow when you walk in the door, you think they're saying hi, but there's a version of that meow that means something a whole lot more complicated. And that cat who sleeps 18 hours a day, barely moves, and seems totally unbothered by the world, you might be looking at a cat who has emotionally shut down. Now listen, I'm not trying to ruin your night, but I am trying to open your eyes. Because understanding what your cat is actually feeling, it changes everything. It changes how you interact with them. It changes the relationship you have with them. And it might just add years to their life. So stay with me, because in this video, we are going to go deep. We're going to talk about the real signs your cat is unhappy. The stuff that looks totally normal on the surface, but is actually a quiet cry for something more. We're going to talk about what your cat actually needs that most owners never think about. And by the end of this, you're going to look at your cat differently, in the best possible way. Let's go.
Okay, so first, let me ask you something. When you picture a happy cat, what do you see? A cat who eats well, a cat who purrs, a cat who doesn't seem sick, a cat who uses the litter box, a cat who sleeps a lot, doesn't cause trouble, seems calm and relaxed, right? That's what most people picture. And honestly, that checklist makes total sense. Those are things we associate with a healthy cat. But here's where it gets complicated. Most of those things, they don't actually tell you how your cat feels. They tell you how your cat is functioning, and those are two very, very different things. A cat can eat fine and still be deeply anxious. A cat can use the litter box perfectly and still be living under a cloud of stress every single day. A cat can be physically healthy and emotionally empty. And the reason we miss it is because cats don't communicate the way dogs do. They don't whimper when they're sad. They don't pace and bark when they're anxious. They don't beg for attention the way a dog would. Cats go quiet. Cats go inward. Cats adapt. And we look at that adaptation and we call it contentment. But sometimes it's the opposite. So let me walk you through the real signs, the ones that matter, the ones most cat owners miss every single day. Sign number 1. Your cat sleeps way more than usual, and you never even noticed it changed. Now, look, I know what you're thinking. Cats sleep all the time. That's just what cats do. And you're right, cats do sleep a lot. Anywhere from 12 to 16 hours a day is totally normal. But here's what most people miss.
When a cat starts sleeping more than their normal, when they stop engaging with their environment, when they stop responding to the things that used to catch their interest, when they just kind of lie there and watch the world happen, that's not relaxation. That's withdrawal. Think about it like this. If your friend who used to call you every day, who used to go out on weekends, who used to be full of energy, suddenly started sleeping all day and barely leaving their room, you wouldn't say they're just really relaxed. You'd be worried. You'd notice the change. We don't always notice the change in our cats because we already think they sleep a lot. So when they start sleeping even more, it just blends in. But that extra sleep, that extra stillness, it's worth paying attention to.
Sign number 2. Your cat has stopped playing, and you've accepted it as them just being older. This is a big one, and it breaks my heart a little every time I talk about it. Because here's what happens. You get a kitten. They're wild, right? They're into everything. They're chasing shadows, attacking your feet, flipping upside down in the middle of the night for no reason. It's chaotic. It's adorable. You love it.
Then they get a little older, maybe a year, maybe 2, and they slow down. They play less. You think, okay, they're maturing. That's just growing up. And you kind of stop trying to engage them. You put the feather wand away. You stop rolling the crinkle ball across the floor. You figure they'll play when they want to. But cats don't always self-advocate when it comes to play. They won't come to you and demand a play session. That's not how they work. If you stop offering it, a lot of cats just stop. And here's what play actually is for a cat. It's not just fun. It's not just exercise. Play is how cats process their natural hunting instincts. It's how they release stress. It's how they feel capable and alive and engaged with their world. A cat who has stopped playing isn't a cat who has outgrown play. A cat who has stopped playing is often a cat who has given up waiting to be invited.
Play is how cats process their natural hunting instincts. It's how they release stress. It's how they feel capable and alive and engaged with their world. Sign number 3. Your cat follows you around the house but never actually approaches you. Okay, so this one is subtle, and it's something you really have to observe to catch. Some cats are what we call Velcro cats. They follow you everywhere. Kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, they're always just a few steps behind you. And most owners see this and think, they just love me so much. They want to be near me. How sweet. And sometimes, yes, that's exactly what it is. But sometimes, a cat who follows you everywhere and never actually comes to you for contact is a cat who is anxious. A cat who feels unsafe unless they can keep you in their line of sight. A cat who needs reassurance but doesn't quite know how to ask for it. There's a difference between a cat who follows you and then rubs against your legs, bumps your hand with their head, settles near you with a relaxed posture, and a cat who follows you and just stands in the doorway, watching you with big eyes and a slightly tense body. The first cat feels secure in your relationship. The second cat isn't sure they can trust it yet, or they've been hurt before, or something in their environment has been making them uneasy, and they're trying to stay close to their one safe thing. You. Sign number 4. Your cat never needs anymore. Or they never did, and you thought that was normal. Kneading, that rhythmic pushing motion cats do with their front paws, is actually deeply connected to emotional comfort. Cats need when they feel safe, when they feel warm and connected and content. It goes all the way back to when they were kittens, nursing from their mom. When a cat needs on your lap, or on a soft blanket, or even on you when you're sleeping, it's one of the most genuine signs of emotional comfort you can get from a cat. So a cat who rarely or never needs, it's worth asking why.
Some cats just need less than others. That's true. But a cat who used to need and stopped, or a cat who lives in an environment where they never feel settled enough to let that guard down, that's a cat who might be missing a sense of security that every cat deserves. Sign number 5. Your cat's meow has changed, and you didn't notice. Your cat's voice is one of the most direct communication tools they have, and it's personal. Every cat has their own vocal style, their own way of saying hello, I'm hungry, let me in, pay attention to me. You know your cat's meow. You've heard it 1,000 times. But have you been listening closely enough to hear when it changes? A cat who starts vocalizing more than usual might be in pain, might be anxious, might be experiencing cognitive decline if they're older, might be trying harder to get something they're not getting. A cat who gets quieter, who stops meowing at you when you walk in, who used to be chatty and suddenly just isn't. That change is worth paying attention to. Communication is connection. When your cat stops reaching out with their voice, it might mean they've stopped expecting a response. Sign number 6. Your cat hides more than they used to, and you've just accepted it. Hiding is a normal cat behavior to some degree. Cats like small enclosed spaces. They feel safe in there. A cat who retreats to their favorite spot under the bed for a couple of hours after something stressful is just a cat doing what cats do. But a cat who hides most of the day, a cat who you barely see, a cat who only comes out to eat and then disappears again, that's not a cat who loves their cozy spot. That's a cat who doesn't feel safe enough to be present in their own home. And the reasons for that can be many. Maybe there's a new pet or person in the house they haven't adjusted to. Maybe there's been a change in the home environment. Maybe the noise level is too high. Maybe they've been handled in ways that have made them associate human interaction with stress. Maybe they just haven't been given the kind of consistent, gentle attention that builds trust. Whatever the reason, a cat who lives in hiding is not a cat who is thriving. They're surviving, and there's a big difference. Sign number 7. You've never thought about what your cat does when you're not home. Here's a scenario. You leave for work in the morning. Your cat watches you go. The door closes. And then, nothing. Your cat is alone in the house for 8, 9, 10 hours. What do? Most of us have no idea. We imagine they sleep. We imagine they look out the window. We imagine they're basically fine. Sign number 7. You've never thought about what your cat does when you're not home. Here's a scenario. You leave for work in the morning. Your cat watches you go. The door closes. And then, nothing. Your cat is alone in the house for 8, 9, 10 hours. What do? Most of us have no idea. We imagine they sleep. We imagine they look out the window. We imagine they're basically fine. Cats in the wild would be hunting, exploring, problem-solving, climbing, surveying their territory multiple times a day. Their brains are built for engagement. A cat who spends 10 hours alone in a quiet apartment with no enrichment, no stimulation, no change in their environment is a cat who is bored out of their mind. And boredom in cats isn't just uncomfortable. Over time, it leads to anxiety, to frustration, to behavioral problems, and to a kind of low-level depression that owners often mistake for the cat being calm or low maintenance. Your cat being easy to manage might actually mean your cat has given up trying. Sign number 8. Your cat overeats or stress eats, and you call it a good appetite. Food is one of the main ways we show our cats love. We fill their bowl. We give them treats. We make sure they're never hungry. But food can also become a coping mechanism, just like in people. A cat who eats obsessively, who is always at the bowl, who cries for food way more than necessary, who gobbles food so fast they vomit, might not be hungry. They might be anxious. They might be bored. They might be seeking the only reliable source of comfort and predictability in their day. And on the flip side, a cat who is barely eating, who has lost interest in food they used to love, who picks at their meals and walks away, that's a cat who might be depressed. Cats who are emotionally unwell often lose their appetite. We've been taught to celebrate a cat who eats well, but the way they eat, the urgency, the pattern, the changes over time tells us a lot more than just whether the bowl is getting empty. Sign number 9. Your cat doesn't groom themselves properly, or they groom too much, and you've never connected that to their emotional state. Grooming is a huge indicator of how a cat is feeling inside. A cat who is healthy and emotionally okay keeps themselves neat, not obsessive, not absent, just regularly, gently maintaining themselves the way cats do. A cat who has stopped grooming, who has matted fur, who looks unkempt and dull, might be physically unwell, but they might also be emotionally depleted. Depression in cats often shows up first in how they care for themselves. And then there's the other extreme. A cat who grooms obsessively, who licks the same spot over and over until there's a bald patch, who scratches and bites at their own skin, is showing you anxiety through their body. Overgrooming is one of the most heartbreaking signs of stress in cats because it's so physical, so visible, but so many owners see a bald patch and think it's allergies or a rash, or they just don't notice because it's under the fur where they can't see it. Your cat's coat tells a story. If you haven't looked closely in a while, it might be time. Sign number 10. Your cat flinches when you reach for them, and you've stopped trying to understand why. This one hits different. Because if your cat flinches when you reach your hand toward them, and your first response is to pull back and give them space and just accept that they're not a touchy cat, you might be missing something really important. Some cats are naturally less tactile. That's real. But a cat who flinches consistently, who ducks away from a hand coming toward their head, who flattens when you lean over them, is showing fear. Body memory, the physical response to something that happened before. Maybe they were handled roughly as a kitten. Maybe they were startled too many times. Maybe they've never been approached in a way that felt safe to them. And the thing is, that flinch gets normalized so quickly. You just stop reaching for them. You stop trying. You tell people, oh, they don't really like being pet. And the cat spends their whole life carrying that fear because nobody ever took the time to help them past it. A cat who trusts you won't flinch when you reach for them. They'll lean in. They'll tilt their head toward your hand. They'll close their eyes. If your cat isn't doing that, they need more from you, not less. Sign number 11. You've never tried to understand what kind of love language your cat speaks. Okay, I know love languages are very much a human concept, but stick with me here, because this is actually really important. Every cat shows affection differently and receives affection differently. And when those styles don't match up between cat and owner, you end up with a cat who doesn't feel loved even when they're surrounded by love. Some cats feel loved through physical contact. They want to be held, pet, cuddled. They actively seek your touch. And if you're someone who sees yourself as more of a hands-off cat person, that cat is missing out on their primary need.
Some cats feel loved through being in the same space. They don't want to be held. They want to sit 3 feet away from you on the couch and just be nearby. And if you keep trying to pull them onto your lap, they don't feel more loved. They feel overwhelmed.
Some cats feel loved through play, through that interactive engagement where you're moving the wand and they're leaping and it's this whole shared experience. And if you just set out toys and walk away, that cat doesn't feel connected at all. Some cats feel loved through slow, quiet moments, soft voices, gentle routines, predictability. And if your house is chaotic and loud, that cat is constantly on edge, no matter how much food you give them. Loving a cat isn't enough if we're not loving them in the language they understand.
Sign number 12. Your cat has no vertical space, and you've never thought about why that matters. This might be the most overlooked thing in cat care, and it's so simple. Cats are climbers. In the wild, height means safety. Height means you can see predators coming. Height means you're in control of your environment. Height is security.
A cat who lives in a home with no vertical space, no cat trees, no high shelves, no safe perches where they can get up and survey their world, is a cat who is living in a constant, low-level state of vulnerability. It sounds dramatic, but it's not. It's literally hardwired into them. Cats need to be able to get high, to look down, to choose their vantage point.
A cat with no vertical space is a cat who can never fully relax, because from floor level, the world is full of threats they can't see coming. And in multi-cat households or homes with dogs, vertical space isn't just nice to have, it's essential. It's the difference between a cat who feels safe and a cat who is in a constant state of social stress.
Sign number 13. You've never considered that your cat might have trauma because you got them from a shelter or they had a rough start. We talk so much about rescue dogs and the patience they need, the healing they require. But rescue cats? We often bring them home, set up their food and litter, and expect them to just settle. And some cats do. Some cats are remarkably resilient. You bring them home, and within a week, they're acting like they've always lived there.
But a lot of cats carry their past with them for a very long time. And unlike dogs, who often show their struggle loudly, cats show their trauma quietly. In the hiding, in the flinching, in the way they startle at sudden noises, in the way they never fully let their guard down. Trauma in cats doesn't look like a dramatic moment of fear. It looks like a cat who is always just a little bit tense, a cat who never fully relaxes, a cat who enjoys moments of comfort but always seems ready to bolt. That cat doesn't need you to just leave them alone and wait. That cat needs you to consistently, patiently, gently earn their trust, day after day, week after week, month after month, because they have learned that the world is not safe, and you have the power to teach them otherwise, but only if you're paying attention enough to know that's what they need. Sign number 14. Your cat has lived with you for years, but you've never actually learned to read their tail. The tail is one of the most expressive things about a cat, and most people only know the basics. Tail up means happy, tail puffed up means scared. That's about it. But your cat's tail is telling you so much more than that every single day.
A tail that's held low and moving slowly from side to side, not a playful wag, but a slow, deliberate sweep, is a tail signaling irritation or overstimulation. That's your cat saying, I'm at my limit right now. And if you keep petting them at that moment, they're going to scratch or bite you. And then you'll say they bit out of nowhere. But it wasn't out of nowhere. You just weren't reading them.
A tail that's tucked close to the body is anxiety, insecurity. This cat doesn't feel safe right now. A tail with a slight curve at the tip that's carried high when they walk toward you, that's a cat who is happy to see you. That little hook at the top is genuine, communicative joy. A tail wrapped around another cat or around your leg when they sit next to you, that's an embrace. That's trust made physical. Your cat is talking to you constantly with their tail. And if you've never learned to listen, you've been missing half the conversation. Sign number 15. You think purring always means your cat is happy. This one really surprises people. Purring is associated with happiness so strongly that it's become almost a shorthand for cat contentment. She's purring, she must be fine. But cats also purr when they're sick, when they're in pain, when they're anxious, when they're trying to self-soothe, when they're dying. Purring is not always an expression of happiness. Sometimes it's a coping mechanism, a self-regulating tool, a way for a cat to calm themselves down, the way a person might hum to themselves when they're nervous. The difference between a happy purr and an anxious purr is in the whole body, not just the sound.
A truly content purring cat has soft eyes, relaxed ears, a loose body posture, maybe kneading, maybe curled up in a comfortable position with no tension anywhere. An anxious or unwell cat who is purring might have wider eyes, flattened ears, a slightly crouched posture, muscles that feel a little tense even when they're still. Learn to read the whole cat, not just the soundtrack.
Sign number 16. Your multi-cat household might look peaceful, but there could be a bully situation you've never noticed. This is something that happens in homes all the time and goes completely undetected for years. Cats can be incredibly subtle about social dominance. The bullying that happens between cats often doesn't look like dramatic fights. It looks like one cat always eating first, one cat always getting the best sleeping spots, one cat always moving away when the other one enters a room.
The cat on the receiving end of this kind of social pressure might look totally fine on the surface. They're not obviously injured. They're not screaming or hissing every day. They're just quietly, consistently less present, less confident, less relaxed. They eat less. They play less. They engage with you less. Because a chunk of their daily mental energy is being spent managing a social situation that's stressful. And the owner looks at both cats and says, yeah, they have their little spats, but they get along fine for the most part.
The cat on the receiving end of this kind of social pressure might look totally fine on the surface. They're not obviously injured. They're not screaming or hissing every day. They're just quietly, consistently less present, less confident, less relaxed. They eat less. They play less. They engage with you less. Because a chunk of their daily mental energy is being spent managing a social situation that's stressful. And the owner looks at both cats and says, yeah, they have their little spats, but they get along fine for the most part.
Sign number 17. Your cat has never been given choices, and that matters more than you think. Control is huge for cats. The feeling of agency, the ability to choose what happens next. Think about what a cat's day looks like when we don't think about this. You decide when they eat. You decide when they get attention. You decide when playtime happens. You move them from one spot to another when it's convenient for you. You pick them up when you want to hold them, even if they weren't looking for it. You let people over and expect them to socialize.
And the cat has no say in any of it. Now, for some cats, this isn't a big deal. They roll with it. They're adaptable. But for many cats, this constant lack of control creates a low-level chronic stress that never quite goes away. Because they can never predict what's going to happen to them. They can never choose what comes next. They're passengers in their own life. And that makes cats anxious, reactive, withdrawn. The fix is so simple. Let them choose. Let them decide when the petting session is over by watching for the cues they give you. Let them decide where they sleep. Give them multiple options for food stations, resting spots, litter boxes, and let them pick. When you approach them, let them come the last few inches to you instead of always reaching for them. When your cat has choices, their whole energy changes. They become calmer, more confident, more trusting of their environment, because suddenly the world is something they can influence, not just something that happens to them.
Sign number 18. You've never thought about how your stress affects your cat. You walk in the door after the worst day of your life. You're tense, you're short-tempered, you're exhausted. You want to collapse. Your cat is watching you from across the room, and they are picking up on every single thing.
Cats are extraordinarily sensitive to human emotional states. They've been living alongside us for thousands of years, and they have become attuned to us in ways we don't fully appreciate. They notice the tension in your body. They hear the stress in your voice. They feel the difference in the way you move through the house, and they absorb it.
Scientific research has actually shown that cats and their owners share stress. That when owners have high cortisol levels, their cats often show elevated stress markers too. Which means if you're going through a hard time, your cat is probably going through one with you. Not because their life has changed, but because you have. And the reverse is also true. When you're calm, when you're present, when you're gentle and consistent, your cat reflects that back to you. They relax. They open up. They come out of whatever shell they've been in. You are your cat's whole world. The emotional weather of your home is your cat's emotional weather. Sign number 19. Your cat is aging, and you've never adjusted what they need. Older cats have different needs. This sounds obvious, but so many owners don't actually change anything when their cat starts to age. A senior cat, which is generally anything over 7, starts experiencing the world differently. Their joints may be getting stiffer, so jumping up to their favorite high spot is harder and hurts more. Their hearing might be changing, so they startle more easily. Their vision might be shifting, so they're less confident navigating spaces in low light. Their cognitive function can change, which might make familiar things feel confusing or unfamiliar. And a lot of what owners attribute to an aging cat just becoming calmer, more withdrawn, sleeping more, being less engaged, it's actually a cat who is in mild chronic discomfort, or a cat who is confused and struggling, or a cat whose world has become a little bit frightening because their senses aren't what they used to be. Senior cats need gentler handling. They need help accessing the spaces they used to get to easily. They need softer resting spots. They need quieter routines. They need more health check-ins. And they need you to pay closer attention, not less, because they can't tell you when something is wrong. Loving an aging cat means evolving with them, not expecting them to stay the same.
Sign number 20, and this might be the hardest one of all. You've been showing up for your cat physically, but not emotionally. You feed them, you take them to the vet, you buy them toys, you keep the litter clean, you do everything right on the checklist. But when was the last time you actually sat down with no phone, no TV, no distractions, and just spent time with your cat? Not petting them while scrolling, not talking to them while you're doing something else, just being present, watching them, letting them come to you, and talking to them softly, being in the moment with them.
Cats notice the quality of your presence, not just the quantity of it. A cat who is fed by a person who's constantly distracted and distant learns that humans are providers, but not companions. That love is transactional. That connection is not really available.
And a cat who has a human who sits with them, who makes eye contact, who speaks to them in a soft voice, who responds to their cues, who truly engages with them as the intelligent, emotionally complex creatures they are, that cat blossoms. That cat becomes more confident, more affectionate, more communicative, more alive. You don't have to do anything elaborate. You don't have to spend money. You just have to show up. Really show up. Eyes on your cat, heart open, phone down. That's it.
Okay, take a breath. That was a lot, I know. And if you're sitting here right now, feeling a little bit worried about your cat, feeling like maybe you've been missing some things, feeling like the relationship you thought you had might have some gaps in it, good. That feeling is the beginning of something better. Because you're not a bad cat owner. You never were. You love your cat. That's why you're watching this.
That's why you're still here.
But loving your cat isn't the finish line. Understanding them is. Really, truly, deeply understanding them. And that's a practice. It's not a one-time thing. It's something you keep getting better at. So let me tell you what actually helps. Let me tell you what a genuinely happy, thriving cat actually looks like. Because this isn't just a video about everything that's going wrong. It's about everything that can go right.
A genuinely happy cat greets you from a place of choice, not anxiety. They hear you come home, and they stretch and maybe stroll over, not because they're desperate, not because they were waiting in fear, but because they wanted to, because they feel good about you, because you're a source of comfort in their world, not stress. A genuinely happy cat plays with enthusiasm. Not every single day, not for hours, but when you bring out the wand, their eyes light up, their tail starts moving. They get into it because they trust that play is safe and fun, and you're a good partner for it. A genuinely happy cat sleeps deeply. You know the face, that totally loose face, mouth slightly open, front paws tucked, body completely surrendered to rest. That's what full relaxation looks like. Not a cat that is still and motionless with eyes open or twitching at every sound.
Senior cats need gentler handling. They need help accessing the spaces they used to get to easily. They need softer resting spots. They need quieter routines. They need more health check-ins. And they need you to pay closer attention, not less, because they can't tell you when something is wrong. Loving an aging cat means evolving with them, not expecting them to stay the same.
A genuinely happy cat shows you their belly sometimes, not because they want you to rub it necessarily, that's a common trap, but because they're comfortable enough to be fully vulnerable in your presence. The belly is the most exposed part of a cat. Showing it to you is a profound statement of trust.
A genuinely happy cat explores their environment with confidence. They walk around the house like they own it, because they do. Because their home is theirs, and it's safe, and it's interesting, and they feel good in it. These are the things we're working toward. So what can you do starting today, right now? First thing, slow down. The next time you interact with your cat, do it at half speed. Move slower. Speak softer. Approach lower. Get down to their level instead of looming over them. You'd be amazed at what a difference this makes in how a cat receives you. Second thing, watch more, touch less. For 1 week, challenge yourself to observe your cat more than you handle them. Watch how they move through the house. Watch who they avoid. Watch when they seem most at ease and when they seem most tense. You'll learn more in that week than you have in months.
Third thing, enrich their environment. This doesn't have to cost a lot. A cardboard box with a hole cut in it, a paper bag to crinkle, a cat tree by the window, a bird feeder outside that window, a puzzle feeder for their food, a wand toy that you actually use with them for 10 to 15 minutes a day. These things matter enormously. They give your cat a world worth living in.
Fourth thing, establish a routine. Cats find safety in predictability. If you can feed them at roughly the same time each day, play with them at roughly the same time, create a rhythm to their day that they can anticipate, you reduce ambient anxiety more than you know. Fifth thing, create safe spaces that are truly theirs, not shared spaces that they're tolerated in. Real, designated, untouched spaces where your cat can retreat and know that nothing will bother them there. No grabbing them from there, no disturbing them there. That spot is inviolable. And sixth thing, be patient.
Whatever disconnect exists between you and your cat, however long it's been building, it won't be fixed in a day. Trust is built in tiny moments that accumulate, one gentle approach at a time, one play session at a time, one afternoon of just being present at a time. Your cat is waiting for you to show up for them in a new way. And the incredible thing about cats is that they are genuinely, profoundly forgiving. They don't hold grudges. They don't close off forever. They just wait.
And when you finally show up in the way they needed, they will meet you there. I promise. You know what? I want to leave you with this thought. Cats chose us. I know we think we chose them. We went to the shelter, we picked the one with the cute face, and we brought them home. We think we're the ones who did the choosing. But cats are not domesticated the way dogs are. Dogs were bred to need us. They were shaped by thousands of years of selective breeding to depend on us, want us, and seek us out.
Cats are different. Cats decided. Sometime 10,000 years ago, wild cats started hanging around human settlements. Not because we forced them, not because we bred them to, because they decided it was worth it. Because something about being near us, about sharing our space, about this strange bond between species, was something they chose. And somewhere deep in your cat's DNA is that original choice, that decision to trust, that willingness to be near a human. And every day, every single day, your cat is making a version of that choice again. They're choosing to stay, to engage, to purr, to show you their belly, to follow you to the kitchen, to fall asleep in the same room as you. They are choosing you. Don't you want to be worthy of that? Of course you do. That's why you watched this whole thing.
So, go and look at your cat with new eyes. Ask yourself the hard questions. Be honest about what you see. And then do the work. Because a cat who truly thrives, who is genuinely happy, who shows you the full depth of what they're capable of feeling and expressing and sharing with you, that relationship is one of the most beautiful things in the world.
And your cat deserves it, and so do you. Hey, if this video opened your eyes even a little bit, do me a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more cat owners who need to hear this stuff. And drop a comment below. Tell me one thing about your cat you're going to look at differently after watching this. I read every single comment, and I want to hear about your cat.
Subscribe if you haven't already, because we go this deep on cat behavior every single week, and you do not want to miss what's coming next. Take care of yourself, and take care of your cat. See you in the next one.